and welcome. We are Crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you yet another episode. My name is Travis. I'm joined as always by my fantastic co hosts, Eric, Ryan, and James. This week, we're going to be talking about underutilized IPs that are near and dear to us personally. Uh, Lots of opinion fuel on this episode. So, stick
Yeah.
around and see what we've
And
picked.
it's a two-piece too.
It is a
That's
two.
what's
Yes, it's a
important.
two-parter. So next week will be the continuation where we'll make fun of whatever it is that Eric's picked, and I will have picked something near and dear to everyone's heart because I'm the coolest person here.
Uh, I have a pretty good pick, so you know what?
I gotta say,
We shall see.
I was looking at the show notes. I think I'm leaning this week towards Ryan's pick
I'm intrigued.
over James's.
I had a hard time with mine coming in because me and Bones got chosen for the opener, and Bones'
Yeah.
idea I think is actually pretty damn good. Um, Mine is excellent. This is one that's legitimately very very dear to me. The funny part is I've talked to all of these guys about it so much that it's not really a hidden gem for any of my friends.
No, this did not
So
catch me off guard. This was not an out of left field pick.
no, no,
Yeah, pretty sure the only one that might be familiar with what I'm talking about is Ryan. Because I'm
yeah.
sure I've talked to you about
I
it
had
before.
never heard of that before I
you're
read
missing
the
out,
show
man.
notes. So
Mm-mm.
I'm
Now I will clarify.
convince
I
me.
only
This is
I
your
only
chance.
know about it because of Bones. Like,
So I do want to jump into news because everybody's got a little bit to talk about, and I'm going to start with mine because mine's probably the least complicated or interesting of them all. I purchased the Echo of Ironcrad, or however you say it. Sorry, the Sword Art
Aincrad.
Online game.
Aincrad, yeah.
Um, I will say I'm going to do a kind of army style: three sustains, three improves. You know what I'm talking about. Um, so in regards to that particular game, for my three sustains, I would definitely say the lore is really good in the game. Um, they have a lot in there. It's pretty deep. You get to explore the floors more than the anime really ever did, and they're rather large, which is cool. The second thing would definitely have to be I would say the graphics and the combat. I'm going to put them together a little bit just because they're both just like level. Like there's nothing mind blowing and there's nothing shitty about them. Um, it's
Two
kind of
minutes
like a
35 seconds.
oh sorry
Oh, yep.
it so it's kind of like a cheap version of like the I'm trying to think Elden Ring and games like that. Like you just have to
It's Dark
hit
Souls like.
yeah
Yeah, Souls like.
dodge, hit, dodge. Like you just kind of learn where you can hit and when you can't hit. And the graphics are just kind of Um, and then probably the other thing for me is the grinding isn't too bad. As you're running around and stuff like that, there's plenty of things to pick up. There's enough of a mix of the creatures you fight and things like that to where it keeps it interesting while you're running around. Oh, sorry, there's going to be four because I totally forgot about this. And the death mode. Very excited to do the death mode. So the death mode, if anybody doesn't know, is based off the actual show to where if your character dies, it completely wipes your saves and you start over.
Ooh, Iron
Um,
Man style. Hell yeah.
right. So like if you're like, I don't know, at like 10 out 20 hours in, let's say, and you fudge something up and die, there's no save. Like you can't go back, you can't have multiple, none of that. Your character is gone. So I'm kind of playing through right now just to see what it's like. And like I said, I want the story and everything. Then I'm gonna go back and do the death mode once it's done, just because then I'll already done the story and everything and kind of seen what they're doing. And like I said, I'm a big lore guy with this one, so very excited. I've already seen Kirito in it, so that's pretty cool. Now the three improves for me is probably they only did two floors out of 100 with the game coming out. Now, supposedly it's they're supposed to be up to 50 hours or 60 hours of gameplay. But two floors seems kind of weird to me. I don't know why you wouldn't have done like a baker's dozen or something like that. I get it. You couldn't do 100 floors, especially with the size that they're doing the floors. But you could have definitely done more than two. So to me, that's something they could have improved on. Um, and even with their DLCs, I don't the first one I didn't see anything about it being a whole floor, just more storyline for the first two. So again, like what are we doing? That's really not cool. Another improved to me would probably be just the way that they do the armor and stuff. The way they do their armor isn't as cool as the weapons. So with your weapons, you can upgrade your weapons or you can synthesize your weapons. Two different ways to use the weapons. Really cool, really nice. Big fan of it. But you can't do that with your armor. I don't understand why. Most games, armor and weapons get treated very similar. So with the game, it doesn't. It's really weird to me. I don't know why they avoided that. But that would have been something that'd be nice to throw in there while you're leveling up your character and stuff like that. And then I think my only other gripe would probably just be I've yet to figure out how to switch out my items for hot buttons. I know that sounds super cheesy. I just haven't done it. It's really weird. So
I mean, it may not be the most intuitive UI.
Yeah, it's weird. I think you literally have to put all your items in, and then your first 4 items go to your hotbar, I think, or something like that. I don't know. I haven't played with enough. I don't care enough. I'm just playing, like I said, for story, so it's not a high difficulty yet.
I'm just out to hit things.
Yeah, once I do death mode, I'm gonna have to really delve in because I have died quite a few times fighting the bigger creatures and stuff like that because I get impatient. So it's going to be interesting. But overall, like I would definitely say if you're a fan of the lore or a fan of a challenge, get the game. If you don't like a challenging game and you're not really big on the lore, I'd dodge it. I really would. There's nothing in there other than those two things that would draw me into the game. Like if you don't know the lore and you don't want death mode.
Sometimes you need a good lore game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I love it.
We can dive more into it later. We should finish our roundtable news so we can get started on people's IPs. James's and I's directly related to one another. Nintendo is having to refile some of their patent violation lawsuit paperwork due to incorrect or improper wording linked directly to their patents, which is causing yet another hurdle in their lawsuit against Palworld.
Yeah, and additionally, one of their patents was just dismissed because they tried to claim a patent, and then the patent investigator found that there was a fan-made game that preceded their patent submission by a significant, like 8 years, I think.
Yeah, by a significant margin.
That had the same mechanics that they were trying to patent. So despite that game being closed down for copyright infringement, which it was, because it was just a Pokemon game.
It was straight up just copyright infringement on all of that.
But they were not allowed to use that patent because they didn't create anything new.
It had already existed.
I feel like the Japanese patent office is like, we've had enough, guys. Just stop.
Just stop. Yeah, times take what was it? What did we say last week? It was like 35,000 yen, something like that. It's like take your or 350,000 yen. And
it was like $30,000 or something like that. Just take your pocket change and get out of here, please.
and please leave.
All right, Ryan, you got any news?
Yeah, I got some roundups as per requests from the comments, follow-ups on the Xbox layoff and studio divestments that we talked about. There's been additional 3,200 job cuts across the Xbox division. And as a result, several partner studios, including Double Fine and Compulsion Games, are going independent, while Ninja Theory and Undead Labs are both leaving Xbox for new publishers. Not sure what this means for State of Decay 3, or several of the other games that are anticipated from these, but that is where we're standing right now. My other news all ties basically into Comic-Con 2026. We had some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipe. Johnny Depp was actually involved in kind of a publicity stunt, marketing stunt, where he got out amongst the crowd dressed as Ebenezer for his new movie Ebenezer, and berated the crowd and insulted everybody, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of good stuff coming out of Hall H, Marvel stuff. A lot of look at Avengers Doomsday, including the first official trailer. Very, very cool. And news that Felicia Day is going to be in a Guild movie coming out, which I'm personally very excited about. However,
their Kickstarter was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Over
all
2
of that.
million, I think.
Oh, I think it was over 2 million in the first like 5 hours. It was wild.
Yeah, it's,
But all of that pales in comparison to the fact that we talked about Magic the Gathering, and I did nothing but bitch and complain about Magic the Gathering, and then WotC decided to call my bluff and released news of Kamigawa Titan Breach coming out June 7th, which I am going to be blowing so much money on that I can't even see straight.
Yeah, Max versus Kaiju.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
in.
Pacific Rim.
Also, yeah, they announced the other 2 sets for next year as well, and then we'll have 3 as of yet unnamed Universes Beyond sets. I'm guessing at least one of those, if not all 3 of them, are Marvel related.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, I was trying to bring that up during the card episode. I was like, Ryan, there's more happening. We still have a chance for Ghost Rider. There's more
I
coming.
saw something out of Comic-Con, it's like some rumors or something about Jack Black playing a dungeon master in another D&D related film.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's just rumors or if it's going to happen, but I think it would be
I'm fine with it.
Wonderful.
I'd see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
But with that, let's jump straight into the show. We didn't discuss it outright before we started recording, so who wants to go first, James or Ryan?
Oh,
Let's go.
no.
Ryan's got to go first.
All right, I'll go first. I will say this going into it, guys, before I make my pitch. This episode and next week episode, as you've already been warned about, is going to be very opinion heavy. We are looking into some multiversal nerdverse scouting for these 2 episodes, bringing up fandoms and IPs that were either left behind, forgotten, or criminally underrated. Hoping to bring some awareness to the games, or maybe even just share some history about it. We've each chosen one that's very important to us individually. And so while there's going to be plenty of talk about lore and mechanics and source material and all that kind of jazz, it is a very, very opinion heavy episode. If there's anything that you guys want clarified, or maybe something we missed about the individual IPs, or maybe hoping your IP makes the next cut, please give us a comment down below. Let us know what you're thinking. We read every single one of them, and we really appreciate it. So I spent a very, very long time coming up with what IP I wanted to do for this particular episode, to the point where I didn't even get my notes in for the show notes until like yesterday.
He picked Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, no. No, I did not. That is here's the thing. I have no hate for Yu-Gi-Oh fans. I think it's cool.
No.
Love the show, but that is way too complicated
with that.
of a game. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening with that IP though.
I will tell you,
not underutilized.
No.
The first show, so good. The Egypt built into it, great.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Okay.
Sorry.
So my pick is not going to surprise any of our honest fans that have been listening for a long time. I want to talk about Malifaux, the skirmish miniature game coming out of Weird Games. That's WYRD Games, because they are releasing their 4th edition and its associated books. And I think that this particular game is a wildly underrated miniatures game, and I wanted to talk about it. Travis, what you got?
4th edition dropped this year, didn't it? It was
It
this
did.
summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been in development. They announced 4th edition in 2024, and kind of took their time with it. The reason I'm bringing it up now is because 4th edition is a major overhaul. There was some controversy around 3rd edition and the way the mechanics worked. I personally thought it was great. I liked 2nd edition as well. This 4th edition is resetting a lot of the stuff that a lot of fans didn't like. Things like cross faction is going to be wildly compressed. Model bloat and overlap is being compressed.
Let's
And
start
so
with the beginning before we dive into the future. I definitely think it's something that needs to get brought up originally.
How
so
do you play
I think
Malifaux?
I was gonna say, I think the best thing to start with is what
is the game and how you play it.
Yeah, like a quick breakdown of like what exactly is the game and like why do you think it hasn't succeeded at the level of like some of the popular ones like the Warhammer?
And
like
that's a quick breakdown, Ryan.
Quick,
quick
break.
All right,
James
all right.
also has to get to his too.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the clock. So, Malifaux, guys, is a genre-blended skirmish miniatures combat game. For those of you that are fans of 40K or Warhammer, it's very much like that, just scaled down significantly. And I got into it originally with my buddy Ugly, shout out, because it was a very affordable, very approachable new miniatures game. And I liked it. It combines aspects of Victorian era storytelling, steampunk, eldritch horror, American Wild West, and just a whole group of multi-genre blending into a singular skirmish game that is cheap and easy to get into. It's notable because it does have several unique systems. There are things that you're going to recognize about it, things like movement, handling inches, weapon ranges, as well as certain things like area of effects and templates. But it is a diceless combat game. What it uses instead is a deck of cards called a Fate deck, and how that deck interacts with your team can change wildly. It also has continued to expand its model count, providing more and more factions to allow you to further customize. And best of all, it is a dynamic game. The story of the game continues to evolve and change as the tournament scene goes, and that is how we get to new additions. Travis, you were up first.
What were the like opening factions?
So the original factions, from my understanding, were going to fall into 5 categories. You had the Guild, which is kind of the government agents that are walking through the portal into this secondary realm. The Arcanists, which are magic using humans that originally made up the labor force. The Outcasts, which is everybody that didn't belong anywhere else, things like mercenaries and stuff. The Resurrectionists, which are necromancy focused, but in a way more similar to like Frankenstein or Victorian necromancy. And of course the Neverborn, which are the native faction to Malifaux, the realm of the game's name, and are kind of a hybrid between true fae and demons. I think that this game has. Oh yeah, Eric.
Okay, so I have an interesting one for you. In regards to how it's cards instead of dice, do you think that played a more positive or more negative role in the game kind of not hitting high popularity? Just because nerds love rolling dice. Like, I carry
think
dice
that
sometimes when I go on adventures to Walmart. So I'm
yeah,
just saying.
I have dice with me always. And so you're not wrong. I legitimately have a 7 set with me at all times. However, I don't think it played negatively into this. I think having the Fate deck played into the mystique of the game and also into the flavor of the game, combining both the use of it like Wild West movies, where card games in the saloon are a staple, trope, as well as being able to use it more similar to a divination deck or a tarot deck, giving the game that kind of vague, creepy vibe on top of it. I don't think it was negatively affected by that at all. And my proof for that actually wouldn't come from the popularity of the game, but instead the popularity of its connected tabletop RPG called Through the Breach, which also utilized the deck of cards. Now, to answer your previous question on why it hasn't reached the level of popularity to compete with things like Warhammer, I think the elephant in the room is Warhammer. I think the line between Warhammer and being a tabletop monopoly is so thin that it's invisible. And I think they got a lot of muscle and power to throw around inside the space of tabletop wargaming. And they have a right to. They've been doing it for 40 plus years. They've created some amazing stories and they've earned it. They've earned their place. But they are a giant to try to topple. Realistically, I think there are 3 main points on why it didn't reach popularity. First, of course, is the GW giant in the room competing in miniatures tabletop is you have to go up against that. The other 2 things is that really they had kind of a release stagnation. The people that are in charge are very interested in making a quality game, not getting game stuff out quickly. And because of that, lots of fans drop off and don't like the long periods in between. Eric, what you got?
Oh, go ahead and finish that. It's just when you're done because you got 3 points, and then after that, I got one for you.
The last one is, I'm going to say it's likely a problem. It was not a problem for me. It was actually part of the attraction. However, Weird Games focused on high detail and complex, high quality plastic kits. Because of that, the models and their construction can be unintuitive, a little bit finicky, very small contact points, and things associated like that. So with a high complexity model and difficulty of painting, combined with what I will admit is kind of a steep learning curve, it's a cliff. It dragged the game down with that release stagnation, which put it into kind of an unknown and backseat to GW.
So if you wanted to like kind of bump it back up to where it's more noticeable and stuff like that, like what's the first step you take? Like what's the first thing you need to do if they want to get more kind of, they're not going to beat Warhammer.
They're not going to beat GW, yeah.
Everyone just uses that as like the go-to. So we're not expecting that. But what do you think they could do to kind of second place themselves to Warhammer, or even just get more tournaments going and things of that nature? Because I've never even seen them, and I know I don't go to a lot of comic stores, but I've been to quite a few.
No, that's true.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind me jumping in a little bit, Ryan, on this one, it's not like GW has just absolutely crushed them. Malifaux has been very successful given the size of Weird Gaming.
Absolutely true.
Right, you're talking about it like.
I mean, we're going into a 4th edition. That itself is saying the game has been successful.
Release was in what, 2009?
I believe that's accurate. Yeah.
So yeah, like it's been a very successful game. To make it almost 20 years as a tabletop game is significant, right? Like that's a huge thing. Is just having staying power. So I just kind of wanted to jump in on that one.
No, that's absolutely true, and very similar to GW's run. I mean, they're doing fine. They have their dedicated fan base. They have dedicated Reddit pages, and in certain towns there are actually Malifaux clubs, but they're kind of niche. They're few and far between. If I was going to give them a nudge, like if I could magic wand it, I would have them do the exact same thing that Warhammer did, and that is to progress out into multimedia format. I think that Weird Gaming with Malifaux has one of the most compelling and interesting stories and settings that I've seen in any game. And I think that they would excel in novelization. And more importantly, I think if I was going to greenlight any project for Malifaux in this regard, I would love to see a Larian Studios style Baldur's Gate 3 Malifaux game. Because Malifaux is much smaller scale than Warhammer. You don't have vast nameless armies of guardsmen or tyrannids. You have 5 or 6 guys on your team, guys, girls, and things that have names, that have stories that you put on the field. It's much more intimate. It's much more personal. And because of that, a game like Baldur's Gate 3, but done for Malifaux, I think would blow it out of the water. I think it'd be fantastic, and it would help scratch itches for people that maybe aren't as into the high fantasy genre and would like a little bit more Wild West revolvers and carbines combined with a little bit of magic and some spooky undead.
What you got,
Yeah,
Bones?
I mean, you definitely got to get lore in there.
Was there? Well, I thought there was a Malifaux like video game.
I
Ooh.
thought there was too.
I did not know about it if there was.
Or like really, I could be wrong, but I thought there was something.
There's been some like Weird West style games in the past, and so I'm leery to say that if it was Malifaux directly.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
You definitely have to branch out anytime you're in the nerdverse.
Well, and I think that GW is seeing an explosion of
Maybe not.
success despite some of its drawbacks. If there is a video game that's maybe it's not Malifaux, if there's a video game that's just kind of like Malifaux, I want to get it. I want it. I want to have it. However, GW ran into some serious problems, and same thing as every one of these companies did. It was COVID, and I'm going to use my last 6 minutes here talking about how GW ran into some serious problems between shipping overseas, manufacturing costs. Everything went wrong with COVID when it comes to manufacturing, getting these games out. And I think that they bounced back as well as they did. Not that they were ever in any real danger, mind you, but I think they bounced back as well as they did because of the sight that they started getting from influence zones. They did great with Amazon. They did great with Henry Cavill revealing that he's a fan, Matt Mercer revealing he's a fan, several YouTubers jumping on the bandwagon, and the release of Warhammer Plus and their animated series skyrocketed it. Travis.
What was the first faction you played with Malifaux?
I got into Malifaux as an Arcanist.
I knew it.
I've not stayed there. Interestingly, my faction that I play now, what I consider my main faction, has continued to evolve, and I've had to change factions, so to speak. I had different colored cards 2 or 3 times now. I got in as an Arcanist. For those of you that are interested, those are the labor unions and kind of the workforce that has learned how to use magic. They're also considered kind of terrorists because the guild is officially the government. In the same way that like the bandits out Wild West would be considered like, outlaws. But yeah, I went in as an Arcanist. I ended up choosing a faction that unfortunately has not been released for 4th edition yet. I'm waiting on bated breath. That is the Half-Bloods. My favorite model in the game is named Angel Eyes. She's just kind of a badass sniper chick, and her faction is a group of experiments where humans tried to gain the power of Neverborn, and that is my favorite thing ever. And so now I'm officially an outcast for 4th edition, running Half-Bloods with Dr. Silas.
What would you say? Like, how accessible is Malifaux for new players? Like, is it something that you can easily just pick up and start playing, or I mean, like Warhammer is not really that accessible for somebody
not
just
accessible.
Right?
So
you're not walking in casually off the street and being a master of that game in 30 minutes.
So I think that this is an excellent question because it covers 2 key points. First, I'm going to say kind of, yes, because the game is very affordable. It's a very low buy-in. You can get into it very, very cheaply. You can play full games with nearly a full team for about $35, $40, maybe up to $60 if you buy the combo boxes. And of course, you can continue to go larger past that if you want to play bigger and bigger games. But on average, your general 10 to 20 Soulstone game, you can get into it for $30, $40. And I think that's a very approachable price for a miniatures war game, considering you can't buy a unit in Warhammer for $40. However, I think the other side of that needs to be said, and that's fact, as I mentioned before, it's got a very steep learning curve. The rules are specific and varied. They have been refined through 4 editions, and I think 4th edition is the most approachable that we've seen the game so far. But it does take a little bit of focus and a little bit of patience. Travis.
So what's your favorite aspect of gameplay?
So my favorite aspect of gameplay personally is not one that many people jump on, but it is the fact that Malifaux, unlike GW, has leaned very heavily into customization and personalization. Not just with painting schemes, but entire model refits. And more importantly, in nearly every edition, they've had a way where you can create your own character in the game that you can then play through campaign and develop. It's kind of like an RPG miniatures game. And that I think is my favorite aspect. Being able to put myself into the stories, into my own factions, develop my own attachments to my favorite keywords or affiliations. It feels very personal and very intimate, and that is my favorite aspect of the game.
Very nice.
With my last minute and 20, what I will bring up is that I think there was a driving factor. I can't prove this part, again, opinions, right? I think there's a driving force behind Weird Gaming that wants the game to be very personal and very intimate in a way that GW never could. They want you to be able to customize and kit bash your models. They want you to be able to write your own part of their story, and they want people to be in love with their game, not just respect it. And I think that is very, very cool. The way that they run their ongoing stories sometimes sucks. When they were first getting into it, there was some confrontation with what's called Dead Man's Hand. And so to be very frank about the downsides here, my first 2 leaders, my first 2 commanders got killed in the story and are no longer legal to play. And so their models got changed over into other stuff. You use them kind of as accounts as now, or you can play what's called a Dead Man's Hand, where you play outside of the game's history. But yeah, no, my first 2 teams, they lost real bad in 2nd edition and got killed. And so there is a downside to some of that, depending on how much you want to stick close to the system's lore. For those of you that are interested, the lore is probably the least accessible part of the game without purchasing their books. I highly encourage you to go check it out. They give you a great overview on their website, as well as several fan-made wiki pages. Check out Malifaux, badass steampunk Wild West game, and I think a better game than Warhammer.
All right, so
I
before
got-
Bones goes into it, go ahead.
I've
Go ahead.
got one more for Ryan. Do you think Weird making the rule sets and individual character cards accessible for free, do you think that helped or hurt them in early stages as far as expansion and revenue generation?
I think it helped them. I think it brought a lot of people into the game when they saw it and it wasn't locked behind a paywall. I think they assisted that with the release of their free app that has all of the rules and stats that you need onto it, called the Crew Builder.
Mhm.
I think that they backpedaled a little bit whenever they rolled out 4th edition in such a slow rate. There are many, many players, myself included, that are waiting on rules for their characters to come out for 4th edition that just haven't been released yet. And so I got my fingers crossed for Dr. Silas come August. So
I have a follow-up question too.
Yeah.
Also coming this year, we have Trench Crusade, right?
yes.
Which I think, you think that that's going to be a big competitor in this space?
I do. Trench Crusade has 2 things going for it compared to Malifaux that are excellent. First is a very compelling and fascinating story and art style. It's got some of the best art and some of the coolest miniatures I've ever seen. Its rule system is good and simple, which Malifaux's is not. Trench Crusade you can learn in 10 minutes and be a good player. Malifaux is not like that. You learn your faction before you learn the game. And I think it will be a good competitor, but I do think that the flavor of Trench Crusade will appeal more to certain groups than a lot of major Malifaux players. There's definitely a Venn diagram, right? But that's
Crusade is definitely a specific kind of person.
Yeah, specific kind of person. And I love my Trench Crusade. I got my my amphibious marine heretics, and I love them and they're great. But it's that whole game has a different flavor than Malifaux.
So at the end of the day, basically, from what I gathered, Ryan, is Malifaux is good because it's more caring, cheaper to get into. And I say caring because all the characters have real names and stuff like that. It's not just randomness to it. So this sounds like it's definitely for somebody that's lore based like myself, not Travis. So, and also someone like myself who doesn't want to spend beaucoup dollars on GW because yeah. So
I'm gonna throw that back at you. I may not know lore about a lot of things, but the stuff I do know lore on is wildly in depth. Because out of everyone here, I would say that I edge out Ryan on Warhammer lore. It's going to be a narrow margin, but I guarantee you, I've done more diving into Warhammer lore than anybody here.
It's because you're more widespread. I'm going to give you that because you've read more. I'm more focused on my lore acquisition, right? When it comes to like the Inquisition and the Guardsmen, I'm all over it. The Necrons, yeah, but you've gone much broader than I have.
Yeah, all the Primarchs, all the crazy like demon, and God, I went on a binge.
Now I will say
Demon Engine.
All right, we gotta get to Bones, everybody.
So I will close your question, Eric, to answer the last bit. The story for Malifaux is the driving force for me. The lore is awesome, and the fact that it can evolve and accommodate my personal touch is very, very good. I don't have time to get into it right now. It's a very complex and compelling story set in my home state, I will point out. And the story's worth it. Even if you don't get into the game, anybody that is interested, go check out some of the story that you can find. It's worth it. All right. I'm going to pass the baton over to Bonesy Poo.
All right. I, of course, picked a comic book. Like, who?
Yeah, we're shocked.
See that shocker coming. I also kind of just learned that it's maybe not going to be as appreciated in the near future. We'll see. But I chose a comic book called Monstrous. It came out originally November 2015. Is written by Marjorie Liu and is the artist Sana Takada, Japanese artist. Marjorie is a Asian American woman. Both of them are women, which I think is kind of important for the story because the background of monsters is set in a world that's like controlled by a matriarchy, in kind of this backdrop of like 20th century Asia, more or less. I think that this comic book was actually super popular among comic book readers when it came out. Like in that space, it is certainly well known. In fact, it's won 7 Eisner Awards.
Oh,
It's won a Hugo Award. In fact,
whoa.
Marjorie Liu was the first woman to win Best Writer, the Eisner for Best Writer.
I don't know any of those awards, but continue.
Those are
They're-
pretty prestigious literary
Yeah.
awards.
So
Yeah.
the Hugo Award in particular is an annual award. That's a science fiction award. That one I know quite intimately because I've been chasing that one myself.
The Eisner's like the Grammys of
Yeah.
literature, you know.
wow,
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's super cool.
That's a lot.
yeah.
How is
So-
that not a TV show yet? Wait a minute.
What? Yeah. Actually, I just learned today when I was like looking up some stuff, is that it has been in development now with Amazon. Nothing has come out yet, like no details, no casting, nothing like that, other than
We're thinking about it.
the showrunner. Oh God, I cannot remember. Somebody, I was like, oh, that sounds cool too. I don't remember, but it's going to be an animated show, which I think would best.
Oh, absolutely.
What's up, Eric?
Okay, so I have to go with the golden question. So you've kind of explained it a little bit, but what exactly is I can't say it right.
Monstrous.
so- And kind of what makes it stand out compared to like other science fiction, I'm gonna guess is what it is. So what makes it stick out from other
I'd
science
actually-
Yeah.
fiction sort of
I'd call it a
comics?
fantasy.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would say fantasy, but it's like
Okay, fantasy.
steampunk fantasy with a lot of like kind of Lovecraftian lore. And for
Yeah.
me, I mean, like that's my jam is when we get into
Cosmic.
Lovecraftian style stories and old gods and stuff like that. And it's like this amalgamation of that like steampunk kind of setting with these old god ghosts walking around, which are I think like the setting itself is awesome. The world building is awesome. Like I said, set in this like matriarchal world where there are kind of 2 factions. There's the Federation, which is like humans, and Arcanics, which are animal people, anthropomorphized
Yeah.
animals, but they can like look human as well. There's like a degree. Some of them are actually not the same thing. They're ancients, and they are literally just like anthropomorphized like foxes or wolves or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of lore there to get into it, but essentially the Arcanics are descended from mating of humans and ancients, so that's why they can be on the spectrum of human or more animal-like. What's up, Travis?
I just wanted to take a moment. Eric, anthropomorphized means they've given human characteristics to non-human creatures.
I was gonna look it up later. I put it in my notes. Don't worry.
I
Well, at
just
least he
wanted
owns
to
it,
get
man.
ahead on that one.
Oh.
And so now in this world, there's like a huge war between the humans and the Arcanics and the ancients. Essentially, everybody's super racist.
Yeah.
The beginning of the story, they're in this stalemate, and they have this like neutral zone where things are just like it's like Berlin post World War II, right? Like where we had the wall and people doing all kinds of shady stuff. But also with the Federation, there's a group of witches. They call them witch nuns. It's like a church, more or less. And
Hell
they're
yeah.
like the Kumei or Kumea. I don't even, not exactly sure the pronunciation there, but they actually kill the Arcanics and consume them for their own power.
I ate it to gain its power.
So
Yeah.
and they are very brutal. That's where this story it takes a turn, because you think like everything I just described so far. I said fantasy. You're thinking, it sounds like it could be fun. this is
It's
Game of Thrones
yeah.
a lot, but worse.
Honestly, it reminds me of like Trench Crusade without religion.
Yeah,
Like
in some of the very first issue, you see a character who has no hands because they have cut his hands off, and they have people in cages, and they're not killing them; they're cutting pieces off of them, and then putting them back in the cage. Eric, I think was first.
yeah.
Yeah, eat it. Anyways, so my big theme is, or my big question, sorry, is do you feel like sort of the mature nature of the theme has like limited it being bigger than what it is? Because like now it's coming out, like you're saying, they're talking a TV show, but they're talking a TV show around this time, which is after your Game of Thrones, your Ring of Power, your more serious, darker theme things. So do you think that that dark theme kind of held it back, and is why it took so long for it to kind of sort of take off a little bit more outside of just the comic book world?
I mean, I still think it hasn't taken off outside of the comic book world. And interestingly, I do think that's maybe like part of it, but also one of the Eisners that it won was for like best material for like teens. So,
Interesting.
yeah, um, despite
Wow.
being like it's not like super bloody per se, but like the implication is always there.
Well, I mean, and when you're dealing with genre fiction, let's face it, genre fiction is not taken seriously by the majority of the people that are in charge of having it get bigger. I mean, even with we just had Odyssey release, what was it, last weekend, right?
Mhm.
And it was fantastic. By the way, I went and saw it. I really enjoyed it. But they played down the supernatural aspects in the movie, especially the advent of the gods, because they don't want to be considered genre fiction. Because it's a black mark. People don't take it serious. Actually, my question was in regards to getting people to approach Monstrous, because this is I agree with you. I think everybody should get into this. Bones hooked me with the art. I'm not gonna lie. The art is some of the most beautiful that I've seen since
Oh, it
Something is
also won
Killing
an
the Children.
Eisner for best cover artist, and
I'm not surprised.
I have number one right here.
Oh
This is
yeah.
a first edition number one, and just so you know how well this, I bought this quite some time ago.
If you can get it to focus.
Just shoot me a picture of it after the show, Bones, and
Yeah.
I'll throw it on some of our socials.
So yeah, the art style is like it's actually super renowned for the art. It's phenomenal.
I was gonna ask if the art or the story was the driving factor for its success, even in its like niche market. But it sounds like it's 50-50. So it sounds
I actually,
like both are...
I do think the art actually etches out the story a little bit for a lot of people, because it's just phenomenal art, right? But these two artists worked together previously at Marvel on like an X-23 run, and have just Marjorie said that it was like working with her was like she was reading her mind. So
nice.
They obviously work well together.
Can you remind me who the two artists were?
So the writer is Marjorie Leo, and the artist is the actual artist is Sana Takata.
Nice.
I have her autograph on an X-23.
Nice.
Print. Yeah.
So my question, Bones, I've been trying to think of how I would recommend this to somebody that was maybe looking at getting into a more serious or a mature comic book line. The vibe to me kind of registers as Kid Kaiju, but taken very, very seriously. That's a wild comparison, not exactly accurate. How would you how would you brief the story to try to get somebody into it that maybe is new to the scene?
Well, for one, I would not recommend this as that's actually I think what's holding it back from more general popularity is that I don't think that this is an intro level comic book. It's just not. Like the writing's it's complicated, the story's complicated, and it's very like Game of Thrones. Like I wouldn't recommend Game of Thrones for a new reader either, right? A new fantasy reader. And it's very much the same thing. Like you meet a character and they're like, oh, and now they're dead. Okay, that was fun. So I think that trying to pitch this is like, if somebody that already likes fantasy, like steampunk or likes kind of grimdark stories, then I would say, hey, check this out, because it is kind of, I wouldn't say it's not like a full on like grimdark like Abercrombie, Joe Abercrombie or something like that, but it is also not a happy story most of the time. There's a lot of morally gray characters that do
Yep.
morally gray things.
You know what? Honestly,
Man,
it's
you-
got protagonist monsters. So for those of you out there that are looking for monsters as your protagonist, this is just not a bad way to go.
Yeah, yeah. What's up, Eric?
Okay, so here's the all important question. So with the way that like all the shows are being done now, adapting books and things like that, since this is like a comic book driven thing, obviously that's still literature and stuff like that. But do you think they should go the route of Game of Thrones and do the live action, or do you think they should have more of like an adult sort of not cartoon? I don't know how adult animation. There we go.
Yeah.
Which one do you think would be a little bit better?
So
this?
when I found out that Amazon was like developing something, I thought like that's actually great, because they did like Vox Machina, which was like pretty much an adult animation, and it did and it's a kind of like a similar like serialization, right? Like comic books versus like the podcast episodes. So I think
Right.
that's the best format. If they wanted to do this particular story in like live action, they need that Lord of the Rings money, and I don't think they're going to get that, because there's just there's just too grand of a scale a lot of the times. So yeah, I think animation definitely suits it the best.
With it
Travis?
going leaning more towards the animation side of things, do you think Amazon is the right studio to handle it? Or would you
I mean,
prefer to switch
yeah.
it to somebody else, like Warner Brothers or
No, I harken back to them doing Vox Machina, which was like great. So, and doing the what was that the anthology series with all the video games.
why do I always forget the name of it? I loved the
I always
Warhammer
do.
episode.
Yeah,
So good, though.
I keep wanting
Like,
to call it Ready Player One, but that's not it.
They've done great animation. I think that, and they've done great like adult themed animation. So I think that that's a perfectly good place for it to be.
Secret
And they
level.
got the money.
Secret level.
Secret level.
They definitely got the money to make the animation really nice, because by the sounds of it, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like it's going to take some pretty innovative sort of animation to bring this to life. So
I think in any meaningful way, I think so.
So what drew you to how did you come across Monstrous?
Oh man, well, I'm in the comic book space, right? Like I was there. I bought the first issue the day that it came out, and so
just cover art caught your eye and decided to pick it up.
I I was looking for like what's new comic book Wednesdays and stuff. So I saw that was coming. I was like, oh, that sounds like a kind of interesting story. I like big, like I said, Lovecraftian, old gods,
Big monster.
Big monster.
So I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, and just immediately I loved it. There's like 63 issues now. It took a pretty big hiatus, like a year-long hiatus last year. Just started back up in like May or something like that. So yeah, we're like 63 issues now.
So is
So
it
that
still
actually-
running? They're still publishing?
Mm-hmm.
So that leads into my question, because I was going to ask what its narrative style was. Is there a singular arc following just a few characters, or is it more of an anthology, or does it skip between characters?
So there's a lot of characters, but there's definitely main characters, and it's like One Piece, there's like an anime, like there's just arcs that are being kind of completed with a grander overarching story as well. I highly recommend, if you do want to check this out, to get the trade paperbacks. Like there's I think 6 or 7 volumes, I don't know, something like that. Highly recommend that. Maybe 10 now, actually, as much as
I've moved into trades myself for my primary consumption.
Yeah. If I'm just reading, I use an app on my phone. But if I'm gonna buy a book to read, just to read a story, I'm going to get the trade paperback rather than trying to get individual issues. Eric, I think.
yes. So quick on the buzzer. So with us being like a whole, we always discuss the entire Nerdverse, and they're looking at making a show. What's the next step do you think they would do? Like, do you think it'd make a good card game, or do you think it would make a good video game, or which one do you think would be the best? Even a tabletop game. Like, what do you think would be the best next form of media for this particular IP?
I would love to see something like a Claire Obscura like style game.
A turn-based combat.
Yeah, I think that would be actually pretty great. I also would love it. I love tabletop games. So if you give me rules for a tabletop game for an IP that I like, let me roll dice.
Honestly, what would be kind of cool is, tell me if this would work, Bones. So take Legendary, for example, right? Where it's the deck building game where you can select your heroes. I think it'd be kind of cool to have a deck building game where you could pick your link to your monster and then acquire like abilities as a deck building game. I think could be a lot of fun.
What you got, Travis?
I was gonna say, if we're gonna do a game out of it, what about the RPG based board games like the like Ravenloft and
Oh, like Shackled Shores and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
I don't think that it fits the theme of like just being like an RPG kind of anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like clearly like a main character, and like you could do that for a game or something where it's not like a board game, right? Where it's not quite lore accurate, but it's just like the mechanics are there. But like for an RPG, you'd have to play the main character, and that's what people like in RPGs most of the time these days. Maybe more like a God of War type situations or something like that. But I think something like Claire Obscura, where maybe you're not even playing the main character, like you're just trying to survive this world that is
just trying
very
to make it
brutal.
Just trying to run your cabbage stand.
How is the world set up? Is it pretty? So like talking about it as an RPG sense, right? In my personal opinion, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a really good attempt, but a very poor RPG. Not because it was bad mechanics, but because there was only one Buffy, right? Like everybody else is just kind of a person. Or is it more like Lord of the Rings, where it was definitely there were main characters, but you could easily RPG in the setting?
Like there's like one. It's about a bloodline is what it comes down to.
So it's Slayer syndrome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm not gonna say who or what or where.
For sure.
It's about a bloodline.
Don't spoil anything. I may be reading this.
Okay.
It's good, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So we're getting towards the end of the show, and this is something I do with everything I watch because I'm crazy. So I'm a big MMO player. I absolutely love a good MMO online. Like, I don't have to buy any other games for 6 months. I don't have to shower. I can just eat a little bit of food.
You should still, your body should still touch bathwater.
I got you, but I don't have to as much because I'm just sitting in a room airing it out.
No,
but
body touches bathwater.
There are so many amazing IPs that are out there that I think would make great MMOs that never get the opportunity. Like Star Wars Galaxies to me was the best MMO ever just because of the IP and the level of difficulty attached to it. You don't see a lot of IPs like mainstream ones getting MMOs. Now, I'll start with Ryan because he went first. But would you like to see one? And do you think it would succeed as an MMO?
For Malifaux?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then we'll go to Bones right after.
Malifaux lends itself to the MMO game space really, really well. The entire story is about individuals, willing or not, arriving on a train through a giant portal into an alternate universe. That's your character creation screen right there. There are plenty of factions to choose from, and having a personal character intimately involved with ongoing storylines is part of the whole deal. I think it would lend itself to an MMO really, really well. I'm not the biggest fan of MMOs. I'm gonna preface that right out front. And so, what I want it to be, I don't know. It depends on how gatekeepy I want to be that day. But I think it would make an excellent one.
Go ahead, Bones. Let us know.
For me, I don't really care for MMOs that much anyway, but I would say like the world would lend itself to an MMO in the sense that it's kind of set up like the traditional, like there's two factions, it's on and off again war. So there is something there, but like I said, the ultimately your powerful main character comes down to like a bloodline, right? So it's like a single person or family, and I think that would make it less interesting, especially for people who already know the story, right? Like they would be, I think, less interested in joining, just being one of the Federation or one of the Arcanics. So I don't think that it would make a good MMO, but I'm not sad about that because, as I said, not a big fan.
I was just gonna, and I hate myself a little bit for this reference that I thought of, but when you kept saying it was like it's line related, and the only thing I could think of was like, oh, like JoJo, where everybody's related to the Jotaro family.
Y'all talk shit on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it's
such
actually
a
really
weird show.
It's really good though.
So weird.
It's really good.
The animations
It's so
are
weird.
like the animations, the power system is weird, but actually really well developed.
No,
I
it
agree.
100%. Like it's got multiple seasons. It's one of those ones where I look at it and I'm like, too weird. Today's not the day. I go
Well,
back
and-
to it and I'm like, is it time? No, it's not time.
One of these days,
Yeah.
it'll be the day, and you'll be like, "Man, I should have done this."
Yeah,
sooner."
it'll get there because I check on it occasionally. I'm like,
Yep.
Are we there yet? We're not quite.
And you know what? To your point, Eric, I actually play a few MMOs myself. I say I'm not a fan, but I play DC Universe Online, and it's been going strong for over 10 years now. And I think that is a really, really good MMO. And
Dragged me kicking and screaming into World of Warcraft.
that is true. I left that one behind because I feel like it's a little money grabby, but I still think that their setting and their story is fantastic. You said Star Wars Galaxies. I happen to agree with you. I think Galaxies was amazing. Its successor in the form of SWTOR was fine, but they tried to paywall most of the game.
SWTOR was fun with me because of the people I was playing SWTOR with.
Yeah, that's
That
me
was-
too.
that
Like
was
I was
awesome.
playing
I
with you
love the people I'm
guys.
playing with.
Galaxies had the hardest thing ever in a video game, becoming a Jedi.
Yep.
Becoming a Jedi in the original Galaxies is the absolute hardest thing ever in a video game. But we kind of talked about some stuff. I know there's been a few IPs, but if you look at the whole IP world of the Nerdverse, like there's very few, and we're kind of coming to the end. So I do want to let people know. Don't forget to check out our website, crossingthenerdverse.com. And next week we are going to be going over should Lucasfilm slow down. I think this is a perfect time.
I thought we were doing
Wait.
part 2. I mean, you not
Oh,
going?
sorry, part 2. Yeah, part 2,
Yeah.
and then Lucasfilm. Sorry, getting
Then
ahead of myself.
Lucasfilm.
'Cause
Eric.
usually we usually split up the episodes. We never do them
Yeah.
back to back for parts. So we'll be doing that, and then we will be looking at Lucasfilm slowing down. So next week is me and Travis.
Which I'm
We
excited.
both
Y'all got
have-
some good stuff coming.
Do we get to
We
vote
have
somebody
some-
off at the end?
Ooh, we
Eric.
on the island? I vote Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna have the best one.
The one guy that's doing the most work behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
he does
Everybody was like,
everything.
Bye, Eric.
I've been slacking off though. I'll be honest. I gotta get going with our stuff again. I did get our website is getting worked on though. All of our stuff is back on Spotify, all the way up to date. I just got to get last week's on there, which was magic. Everybody seemed to like it. But yeah, so our next 2 episodes we actually can put out to everybody is part 2 of this. Me and Travis kind of putting out our stuff, and then I'll probably throw a poll up and see which one they preferred, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, just to see if we can get some comments on it and things like that. And then, yeah, we'll be jumping into like, should Lucasfilm slow down? This will give it or anybody that's listening right now a great opportunity to kind of look at it themselves and see what their opinion and take on that is. Because, I mean, I have a lot to say about it personally. I do think they've made a few mistakes, so it's going to be fun. But my topic is still going to be the best because it was such a pivotal cartoon
Hell yeah.
to my childhood. That was so good.
I'll jump in right there, guys. Travis is right. Eric does an incredible amount of work for us behind the scenes. He handles the majority, honestly, of the work of the entirety of Crossing the Nerdverse. And so I want to make sure and put my support out there for him. And if you want to reach out and support the show, the best way to do it, of course, is to buy some merch. Our website is getting worked on right now, but we do have the summer line is out. It has been relatively popular. I personally think it's really, really cool and some of the best stuff we've put out since the OG. And so I would encourage you to go check that out. Second best way to support the channel, guys, is to make YouTube give us your money. Give us a like, give us a comment, all that engagement algorithm nonsense down below. And in truth, at the end of it, I would like to hear personally your opinions. I want to hear what you think about Malifaux. I want to hear what you think about Monstrous, and I want to absolutely trash on everything Eric chose for next week. And so,
Best one. Best one.
And of course, guys, if you're not following us, you should be, because we know the way.
And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We are crossing the Nerdverse. Find us. Well, yeah, it's time to close the episode. It's time, Eric. Don't interrupt.
We hit an hour. Like
no, Eric, it's too late. I already started the outro. We're leaving.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good point.
That's right.
Sorry.
James
just leaving.
And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We're crossing the Nerdverse. Find us wherever you get your podcast from, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.
See y'all.
Goodbye.
It's nice to say.